right now.
New this noon, a man faces a capital murder charge in connection with a Westside shooting.
San Antonio police are accusing him of plotting to lure a man to his death. Rafael Ricardo Jesus Almendarez is charged with capital murder and 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping. That shooting happened back on August 11th in the 400 block of South Lawn Avenue near Cerralvo Street.
According to a warrant, San Antonio police were conducting a traffic stop on a vehicle 1 block away when they heard multiple gunshots. The victim, identified as 44-year-old Antonio Sanchez, was found dead in the street. Police say 2 witnesses told officers that Almendarez and another person broke into their home. The witnesses reported that they were assaulted and held at gunpoint in an attempt to lure Sanchez to the location.
Almendarez was booked into the Bexar County Jail on a combined $600,000 bond. Well, the Archdiocese of San Antonio announcing this morning that they're getting one of their own back home. Auxiliary Bishop Arturo Zepeda has been appointed from Detroit to San Antonio. And as our John Paul Barajas explains, Bishop Zepeda spent the majority of his young adult life here, and he's more than excited to be back home.
Genuine excitement and joy is very contagious. So we're excited to have you back. How are you feeling right now?
Excited. I'm so happy. I cannot hide my joy, really. It's just wonderful. I'm very grateful to Pope Leo XIV, who made all this possible. It's a double shock for me. First was that I was going to be transferred. Okay. To San Antonio. No way.
You were born and raised in Mexico, then you spent a majority of your young adult life here in San Antonio.
Yeah, I was a very young teenager when I moved here. Yeah.
So your connection to San Antonio, but also the Hill Country with connections to churches in Ingram and Kerrville.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be back in the wake of the Hill Country floods?
It was just so devastating to hear that, and to, you know, I actually knew a couple that was they drowned, and that was sad. I pray for the first responders. I pray for those who survived. I pray for those who lost everything they had.
What's your message to the faithful here in the San Antonio area?
It is, we always see our Lord in everything that we do. We proclaim the gospel with great joy, and we move forward.
Welcome back. And Sunday, October 12th, Bishop Zepeda will officially be welcomed to the Archdiocese of San Antonio during the 8 and 10 o'clock Mass at San Fernando Cathedral.
Great to have him back, and he's back for some spotty showers today.
Yeah, there are some spotty showers out there, mainly south of San Antonio right now, but these could interrupt the afternoon commute in spots. So let's start with a look at the Authority radar. You can see just how spotty this rain is. I mean, we've got an isolated shower down near Floresville, no lightning with this. Either near Pleasanton, just some rain fell there, approaching Lemming up 281. Here in San Antonio, we had a brief shower nearer to Calaveras Lake, but generally things are fairly quiet at the moment. But as I mentioned, we could easily see 1 or 2 of these downpours into the afternoon commute. It is warm, it's 88 degrees, but we are starting to see those pop-up cumulus clouds developing. Now, those are the precursor for some rain. So for your afternoon commute, kids, picking up your kids, those kinds of things, a small 20% chance for you to see an isolated shower. Otherwise, it's going to be hot, high temperature near 97. We have got a lot to talk about. I'll show you tomorrow's rain chance as well, but really it's going to be pretty hot Thursday and Friday, near 100 degrees for some of the first high school football games, including the Pigskin Classic. So it is going to be a hot stretch here through Friday, but beyond Friday, Labor Day weekend, I am seeing some high signals that our rain chances are increasing. I'm going to start with that Labor Day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, one person is under arrest after a house fire just east of downtown. San Antonio police say that it started when neighbors confronted a pair of squatters at the home, leading to one arrest while the other got away. Now, firefighters arrived to heavy smoke and fire back at the home. Now, the home's layout made parts of the fire tough to reach. However, crews got it under control. And the house partially collapsed because of the flames. So far, investigators are not sure what caused that fire.
Well, sometimes we take for granted just going to the mailbox and getting the mail, but for some people, cluster mailbox theft has gotten so bad that the city of San Antonio has forced its police to find a solution. And the problem is not just hitting one neighborhood. Let's take a look at this. This is a map from San Antonio Police Department that shows the areas most heavily impacted by this. The darker colors here mean the more arrests. According to the San Antonio Police Department's public safety dashboard, officers arrested about 30 people in connection with mail theft cases between last August and July of this year. Now, some communities are doing something about it. And as Patty Santos reports, they're spending thousands on security.
Mailbox break-ins is a crime KSAT has covered extensively in communities across San Antonio.
At least $30,000 or more just in mailboxes.
Supposedly they're supposed to be really easy to get into.
I guess people just looking for checks or credit cards.
Police say it's hard to catch the criminals unless there's fingerprints or video surveillance of the suspects in vehicles.
In some cases where we've had to replace full mailboxes, thousands of dollars to replace mailboxes.
Ryan Baldwin of the San Antonio Apartment Association was tapped by the city to be a part of a stakeholders group to come up with some solutions.
It's a community policing, I would say. We have to be more eyes open, be more present as a community, and pay attention.
At one of his complexes, they've added several layers of protection to deter criminals. A metal gate with a code that changes routinely, extra web fencing, another key-locked metal bar to prevent criminals from using a crowbar, and of course, security cameras.
It takes a lot of time for staff to have to deal with the post office, the police department, the residents have to come and go, but also structurally and physically.
And all of this adds up in cost for apartments.
We continue to modify where we need to and adapt. That's what it's all about.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Well, as management agency can afford these security updates, but some HOAs cannot. KSAT spoke to one HOA president who feels the post office should be paying for the security upgrades. Until they do, the break-ins continue. We should get an update from police on this task force later in the summer or in the fall.
Well, there is concern that the city of San Antonio could end up with a budget deficit of nearly $31 million next year. So the city wants your feedback as it plans how to handle that budget. And you have a couple of chances today. So the District 4 Town Hall will be at the Robinette Community and Senior Center. That is on South Ellison Drive. The District 1 Town Hall will be at the Central Library. That is on Soledad Street. Now, both will start at 6:30 p.m. It is free to go. However, if you want to participate, you have to sign up. So City Council will vote on the budget on September 18th.
A scam warning this noon from a former San Antonio journalist who says he was duped by someone he knew for several years. His advice to help others avoid becoming a victim.
Well, a new state park is set to be developed in Uvalde County. So the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department bought Bear Creek State Park, and it's going to be a 1,720-acre park.
It has access to the Frio River, Spring Creek, and Bear Creek, and it will be developed through Centennial Parks Conservation Fund. According to the department, that fund is dedicated to developing state parks.
The department will be asking people to weigh in as they develop a plan of action for that property that includes recreational opportunities and a potential opening date.
You can read more about the project on KSAT.com. All right, it all goes down on Thursday. We will be live from Ferris Stadium beginning at 6:30 in the evening for a pregame show before Sotomayor kicks off at 7. And that's all live on KSAT 12 and streamed live on KSAT Plus, the big game coverage app, and KSAT.com. And we will have coverage all week leading up to the action.
And also coming up, the second annual Texas Eats Food Festival set for September 20th at the Boeing Tech Port Center. You could try food from 20 top restaurants from across Texas made by Michelin and James Beard award-winning chefs. Now, if you want to buy tickets, you can scan that QR code on your screen. A portion of the proceeds will benefit the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country.
And it's inside, which is amazing because, Sarah, we're seeing rain.
Yes.
Scattered in late August.
Some showers out there right now with an even greater chance on Labor Day weekend. I do have to say, though, the buzz of the newsroom right now, is that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Congrats.
Breaking news.
It's breaking news. Okay, hey, molds are high. They're past 1,000 right now. The aquifer is down a foot over the last 24 hours. It's now 30 feet below that monthly average. But take a look at rain chances. They increase over the Labor Day weekend. We're going to start with that coming up in just a bit.
I'll just say it. We're still talking about Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. You don't even have to be a Swiftie, and you're still talking about it.
Well, I've been a fan of Travis Kelce's for a while.
I know, we love the Chiefs.
Because I was a huge Chiefs fan
that's
my entire life. Still am. But, a lot of people feel a certain way about the Chiefs now that they're winning pretty regularly. But, hey, you know what? If we're talking about a newsroom, people are talking about it out there, for
I'm
sure.
sure they
Thanks
are.
for breaking the news.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Hard breaking news
And then
from Sarah
I
Spivey.
showed them the picture of the ring.
Of the ring.
It's literally like that, the diamond.
ring,
It's
yes.
pretty crazy. Okay, but let's get to our forecast, all right?
Here in San Antonio.
Let's talk about Labor Day weekend, because we're becoming more and more confident that we're at least going to have some rain in the picture over Labor Day weekend. Saturday, a 30% chance, slightly higher chance on Sunday, up 40% chance, and Monday, a 30% chance. You'll notice, too, temperatures are going to be in the low 90s on Sunday and Monday, perhaps even cooler if we can get a front to move into the Alamo City. So the biggest thing I want you to know with the forecast over Labor Day weekend is that it will not be a washout, okay? Likely will not be a washout. I do not anticipate it to be raining all day, all weekend long. In fact, like what we've been seeing the last couple of times, we're really just going to be dodging downpours. So what you should plan for is you should plan to have a backup indoor option just in case. Like if you're out by the pool, if thunder roars, go indoors really quickly and then enjoy some time back out of the pool when the rain is over, those kinds of things. What we'll be watching for as meteorologists and your weather authority is we'll be watching for localized street flooding, minor street flooding and travel troubles as people will be moving out around and about the city and across the state. So we will keep you posted. That's Saturday through Monday, at least a chance for rain. And we're seeing some rain right now on the authority radar, even though it is fairly isolated to Wilson County at the moment. Some of that rain is moving generally to the north very slowly. You can see here a few downpours in Wilson County. Otherwise, again, things are going to be fairly quiet this afternoon. Let's go ahead and zoom in, though, on Wilson County, Floresville area, Poth, some of these brief heavy downpours. No even lightning with this, but we are starting to see them head into Bexar County. In fact, there's one very isolated shower here just crossing 35 south and west of Von Army. Otherwise, it is going to be a hot afternoon, 20% chance for you to see rain in your backyard, 97 for the high temperature. And then this evening, we're going to be seeing temperatures fall to near 80 degrees by midnight. Take a look at satellite and radar across the state. You can clearly see that North Texas under a blanket of clouds right now with some rain from Oklahoma City to Texarkana. This is all behind that front, which is stalled out north of San Angelo. And temperatures behind this front are actually quite a bit cooler. It's only 62 degrees in Amarillo, 71 in Lubbock, 70 in Wichita Falls, 66 in Oklahoma City. You can see, though, much warmer here in San Antonio. And again, we expect the high temperature to be in the upper 90s. Take a look at what happens, though, in the next couple of days. By Thursday and Friday, we're going to be hot. We're going to be close to 100 degrees. What's happening on Thursday and Friday? A lot of the high school football games for the first time. And so it is going to be that typical, very hot start to the football season. Make sure that you stay hydrated. If you're going to be out there watching some of these games, bring some sun protection, those kinds of things. Otherwise, watch what happens to temperatures beyond Friday. We see a quick dip in temperatures so that by Sunday and Monday, our highs are only in the low 90s. And again, the reason for that is because of those rain chances and the approach of a weaker cool front. I want to talk about the Pigskin Classic and the forecast if you're going out to the game for Clark Cougars, Go Cougars, and Sotomayor for that Thursday. So I'll have that forecast for you coming up in the next half hour, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Sarah. Well, the scams are something that are almost unavoidable in our digital world these days, and with new ones popping up right here in San Antonio as recent as 3 days ago.
And so what can you do to protect yourself, or what should you look out for? So during our GMSA Plus stream, we spoke with Jonathan Walton, who has firsthand experience with this.
All of these techniques that all these scammers are using to scam all these different people, the techniques are identical.
So there's a common thread.
Absolutely. And I started making notes, like these are the red flags that every scammer uses, and that's the title of my book, Anatomy of a Con Artist. The 14 red flags to spot scammers, grifters, and
I literally have all 14 of them here, but we can kind of go through some of them, and we've got them on the screen right here, and you can maybe point out one or two that really stick out to you.
Well, listen, 99% of the cases I've investigated over the past 8 years, hundreds of cases, the con artist enters the victim's life. I just want to help. They offer to help.
With whatever the problem is.
They figure out what the problem is, you know, and con artists are everywhere. The new neighbor, the new friend, the new coworker, the new boyfriend, the new girlfriend, they are everywhere. And all they're trying to do is scam you. And they're going to pretend to like you, pretend to care about you. They're going to offer to help. Who doesn't love a helper?
Yeah.
That's why they need to get you to love them, because when you love someone, con artists don't outsmart you, they outfeel you. They use your emotions against you, because when you're making decisions with your heart and not your head, you're going to get scammed.
Well, yeah. And if you know someone for 4 years.
4 years, I thought I knew this woman.
Yeah.
4 years, she would cry. You know, her family was trying to get her disinherited from this Irish inheritance. You know, I want to punch myself in the face when I say this out loud, but I was helping an Irish heiress get her inheritance.
Oh my goodness.
But it's more nuanced than that. But ultimately, that's what it was. And this is a woman I knew and loved for 4 years, scamming me, scamming dozens of people. I had no idea. Victims don't talk about getting scammed. They stay quiet, and that helps the con artist scam more victims.
And I think it's important to remind people, again, you're a former TV news reporter, you're an Emmy winner. This is a smart, competent person who used to do what we do for a living.
Yes.
And producing reality TV shows, Shark Tank, American Ninja Warrior. I mean, you're smart. So the fact that this happened to you and she was able to get to you was really alarming to me.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's social engineering. You meet a stranger and they become a friend very quickly, and you think they are who they say they are. You need to be suspicious of people.
Right.
You need to have a healthy suspicion. Be friendly, but be suspicious.
Yeah.
Red flag number 2 follows red flag number 1. Too kind, too quick. So now they want to help you, and now they're whining and dining you. They're buying you gifts. They want to watch your kid.
She did that for you.
Dog. Yeah, she took us on vacations to Palm Springs. She pretended to have all this money. We thought she was an Irish heiress, but the money she was using to wine and dine me, she was stealing from other people. She had plans for me. She had plans for me, and I fell for it.
Right.
Yeah. Drama, drama, drama. Red flag number 3. OMG. This is a big one. Once you care about the con artist, again, think of it. New boyfriend, new girlfriend, new friend, new neighbor, new coworker. You care about them. They helped you. They were too kind, too quick. And now they have problems. They have cancer. Their mother died.
She faked cancer.
Oh, she faked lupus. She faked cancer. She faked a daughter having every kind of emergency. She faked because it solicits sympathy, and you want to help her.
That's
because she's helped you, and now you love her. Now the drama starts. So listen, bad things happen to people every day, but 30 bad things don't happen to one person in a week.
Right.
Unless it's a con artist. Another red flag: isolation. This one's a biggie. And it's so easy to isolate you from people who would talk you out of going along with the con. All you have to do is, you know, very Shakespearean, Iago, Othello.
Right.
You whisper in your ear, hey, you know what Sally said about you? Sally said, she said, blah, blah, blah. You're like, Sally? What? I'm never going to talk to Sally again. And you're never going to confront Sally. Because we're polite. Like, that's too weird.
Right.
That's like almost being like when you're in an abusive relationship, the isolation.
They isolate you because people will help you get out of it.
Very scary situation.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's really important, what we were just saying is that when a victim actually comes forward, I like that he said that. That is very rare. When we do these scam stories, it's really hard to find people to talk about it because they're embarrassed or something. So I'm so glad.
Or report it.
Exactly. I'm so glad that he's come out with this. It's great.
Yeah. So he actually told us that he reported this crime to the LA Police Department, and they laughed at him at first.
Wow.
And so he took it under his own hands and did his own investigating and found that there were a lot of other victims of this woman. And so then they stepped in. And so this woman was behind bars for like about 4 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a very scary situation. And the way it happened, because you're like, oh, maybe like a text message where we're not going to click on the link, but this is someone that he got to know over several years. So again, if you want to see more about this, interview is on KSAT.com.
All right, and we'll be right back.
For the first time in American history, a president is trying to fire a member of the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. So President Donald Trump says he is firing Lisa Cook.
As ABC's Perry Russom reports, the president is accusing her of making, quote, false statements on one or more mortgage agreements.
President Trump escalating his battle against the Federal Reserve, announcing he's firing a member of its Board of Governors, Lisa Cook. Trump accusing Cook of making false statements on one or more mortgage agreements. Trump releasing a letter on social media writing, "I have determined that there is sufficient cause to remove you from your position. Cook has not been charged with a crime." Cook is the first black woman to serve on the Fed's board. She says President Trump has no authority to fire her, saying she will continue to carry out her duties, adding, "I will not resign." It's Trump's latest swipe at the Federal Reserve, an independent agency. The president has been bashing Fed Chair Jerome Powell for months for not lowering interest rates.
We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't. Jerome Powell has done a terrible job.
The president does have the ability to fire a Fed governor if he establishes cause, but it's not clear if he has done that. This could go all the way to the Supreme Court. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
Does it sometimes feel like your vote doesn't count? That could partially be a result of redistricting and gerrymandering. It's the process that can shift who represents you and how much power your voice really has.
Well, Erica Hernandez breaks down why this sometimes is confusing, the process itself, and actually one of the most important things affecting your political power, and why what's going on across the nation right now could have serious implications.
Redistricting isn't just politics. It's about whose voice counts. What is playing out in Texas and now across the country could change political norms in a major way.
It's a partisan arms race in which defeating the other party has become almost the sole objective of both party leaderships.
UTSA political science professor Walter Wilson says the current fight over redistricting sets a dangerous precedent for the future of politics, something he calls partisan warfare.
This sort of gamesmanship is really, I think, unfortunate because it's going to make it impossible for government ultimately to function in a way where leaders collaborate and compromise and solve problems.
This fight over representation started with President Donald Trump asked Texas to redraw their congressional maps to make 5 districts more favorable to Republicans. While redistricting has been an issue in Texas before, Texas Capitol insider Scott Braddock says this time around was different.
Even though Democrats are losing in Texas, they've forced some legislative action in other states, those states that are trying to counter what Texas is doing. That's never happened before.
So take a look at this map. Now, California already working on their new redistricting map, but take a look at all these other states beyond Texas also talking about doing the same. So how does this affect the average voter?
What you see is that changes in public opinion become unable to be registered in changes in government. And that's a problem because it short circuits representation, which is the key to our entire system.
Now, those affected the most are minority voters. It's why LULAC and the NAACP are planning to file a lawsuit against Texas. But experts say they may not be able to stop the maps from changing.
If the courts find that racial discrimination is baked into these maps, then they might have to be changed, but the entire map would not be thrown out.
Ultimately, both Braddock and Wilson say it looks like this form of politics is here to stay unless we, the voter, demand differently. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Taking a look outside with live cam, 88 degrees, which is a little bit lower than it has been at this hour.
That's true. One of those reasons is the puffy cumulus clouds out there that are starting to grow into the vertical and actually produce a few downpours for your afternoon commute. I want to start, though, with the forecast for KSAT Pigskin Classic, Sotomayor versus Clark. I got to let you in on a little secret. I'm a little biased because I am a Clark Cougar graduate.
You're allowed.
So, but hey, all of the kids are going to have a great time out there. At 7 p.m., it's still going to be hot. It's going to be 97, and the field temperature is going to be 100 plus. And I've been to Dub Ferris Stadium. You know how hot it can get out there. So just use a little caution. This is a great example of what games are going to be like on Friday, too, for those of you who have kids that are in those high school football games. So keep that in mind. It's going to be hot. Now, one thing we are seeing is some rain on the radar, as I mentioned right now. The Authority radar showing some showers near Floresville and Poth, starting to get into the southern part of Bexar County. There is entirely a possibility that we could see some redevelopment around San Antonio for the rest of the day. So chance, though, is only 20%, just hit or miss downpours as you're heading out and about this afternoon. 97 for the high. It'll be 83 by 10, but we do have higher rain chances over the holiday weekend that I want to talk about. We'll have those details for you in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, water isn't a luxury, it is a necessity. However, some people in the Spring Branch area have been dealing with discolored water for nearly a month now.
Yeah, they tell John Paul Barajas, even with the nasty color, they're being told it's safe to drink by the Texas Water Company.
And to be blunt, it looks like it could be urine.
Yeah.
And that is safe to bathe in and to drink according to your water company.
According to the water company.
When you turn your faucet on at home, you expect it to be clear and clean. And although it looks clear right now, when you start to fill up your cup, you can quickly notice that there's a distinct yellow tint to it. It's something that residents in the Spring Branch area say they've been dealing with for weeks. This right here is a comparison between tap and bottled water.
The first time I saw it, I was very concerned. I called my husband and said, hey, look at this, what's going on? I thought maybe there was like a break inside of a line or something in the pipe, that maybe dirt got in it or something.
And for some, the water has been completely brown at times. It's something those living in the preserve at Singing Hills and the Crossing at Spring Creek neighborhood say doesn't seem to be getting any better. And they're not sure if this is lingering effects from the Hill Country floods.
And I started thinking maybe, it just touching our skin, they're going to cause rashes.
Both communities rely on Texas Water Company, and they've complained to their water provider, who sent them this response. There's no safety concerns for the water at this time. The discoloration is primarily due to iron and manganese, naturally occurring minerals.
When your water company says that is safe to drink, would you pose the question to them, would they drink that?
My wife did pose that question to them, and it wasn't really a response. They kind of skirted the question.
According to the Environmental Protection Agency, both minerals Texas Water Company are citing for the discolored water are safe to drink, but only in small amounts. The EPA's advisory level for manganese is 0.3 milligrams per liter for adults and 0.1 milligrams per liter for infants due to concerns for neurological effects.
How do we know if they're testing exactly how much is there? If the color fluctuates from day to day, how do we know their testing doesn't fluctuate from day to day?
We have contacted the Texas Water Company, the TCEQ, and the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority for more information on the residents' water quality. We are still waiting to hear back. In the meantime, families are sticking to bottled water and minimal and quick showers.
Bathing in brown water is kind of gross.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
And if you remember, this isn't our first time reporting on brown water in small local communities. I spent over 6 months last year investigating a different water company, CSWR, and that reporting resulted in 2 new state laws being passed to keep consumers safe. So they take effect next week, and so we are looking into whether those new laws affect the way these neighborhoods' complaints are being handled. We have links to all of those stories on KSAT.com. Just search Dirty Water Investigation.
Well, CISD's attorney admits his firm failed to release all records from the Robb Elementary School shooting 2 weeks ago. So last night, the school board unanimously voted to make the documents public by next week. Officials say it was the law firm's mistake, prompting emotional and at times angry reactions from board members. So earlier this month, the district released more than 3,500 pages after a judge ordered it, following a lawsuit by KSAT 12 and other news agencies. However, new documents and video, including more than 8,000 emails, were left out. So a Robb Elementary employee wrongly accused of leaving a door open for the shooter says the district must release everything.
You say you stand for transparency, but you have withheld the very footage that will clear my name.
Well, this is part of the surveillance footage that Franco is talking about. The only reason that you're watching it is because it was leaked to the Austin American-Statesman a few years ago. Uvalde CISD says they don't have the video anymore. They say that turned the footage over to DPS, and when the district asked for a copy, the agency did not respond. The district says that the record should be ready by the middle of next week.
A San Antonio mother is still struggling after someone shot and killed her son last week. A mailman found 30-year-old Johnny Montoya dead on Doris Street just before 11 a.m. on August 16th. Hours earlier, San Antonio police found his father, David Richard Montoya, shot about 500 feet away near an apartment complex on South Calavera Street. David was taken to the hospital and died a few days later. SAPD confirmed to KSAT these two shootings are connected. Johnny's mother held a vigil last night.
Come forward and let the police officers know who it was for him, for his sake, so it doesn't happen to anybody out here again.
On Wednesday, his family will hold a funeral. Those details are on KSAT.com. Meanwhile, no arrests have been made and no suspects have been publicly identified. Well, one of the most notorious drug lords in history pleaded guilty to drug trafficking charges. Ismael El Mayo Zambada Garcia, the co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, admitted to leading a continuing crime enterprise and racketeering charges. Prosecutors say he trafficked billions of dollars worth of cocaine, heroin, meth, and fentanyl into the United States over decades and ordered ruthless acts of violence to protect his empire. He now faces life in prison without parole and has agreed to a staggering $15 billion forfeiture judgment. El Mayo's guilty plea marks the downfall of a second Sinaloa kingpin brought to justice following his partner, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
With weight loss injections maintaining popularity, drug makers are looking for new ways to produce the medication, and they could come in the form of a pill. Well, nearly 200 current and former Federal Emergency Management Agency employees sent a warning letter to Congress regarding recent changes. Yesterday, FEMA workers accused the Trump administration of eroding the agency's response capabilities and appointing unqualified leadership. The letter warned about the possibility of failures similar to the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. The letter argues that reforms in place since the deadly storm are now being unraveled. The group is calling for FEMA to become a cabinet-level independent agency. They also want the agency to be protected from political interference.
Eli Lilly says it will file for regulatory approval for its GLP-1 weight loss pill called orforglipron. The latest results from a trial of the medication offer enough information for the drug maker to ask for global approval this year. Eli Lilly already makes the injectable drug Zepbound for obesity, along with Mounjaro and Trulicity for diabetes. It's among several companies pursuing an effective pill form of the drugs. In May, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration accepted Novo Nordisk's marketing application for an oral version of its weight loss drug, Wegovy. An FDA decision on that is expected towards the end of the year.
Well, no one has won the Powerball since May 31st, and that means that pot is rolling over at no one won again on Monday night. So now it's expected to reach $815 million before Wednesday's drawing. That would make it the 7th largest in the lottery's history. The cash value of that payout, if taken in a lump sum, would be about $368 million. So the jackpot could go even higher if more people then are expected to buy tickets. And of course, that also increases the likelihood of a winner or even multiple winners who would have to split that big prize.
We didn't win last night, ladies.
No,
I know, but I'm playing again.
And this is why I don't play the lottery.
Playing again.
You have to play again.
Okay.
Because if somebody wins here at work, you're going to get serious.
That's why we're all three in this together.
Yes.
Absolutely. And our luck is right around the corner. I know we've got this, guys. Molds are high past 1,000. See, molds are better than they were yesterday, but they're still high. The aquifer is down a foot over the past 24 hours, now 30 feet below the monthly average. And we only have a 20% chance for spotty rain today and tomorrow before it really gets hot on Thursday and Friday. For some of those high school football games, it's going to be near 100. However, there is good rain chances over the Labor Day weekend. I know it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? We want the rain, but maybe not over a holiday weekend. I've got details for you on what you can expect coming up after the break. Here we are, just thinking about what we would do if we won the lottery.
Well, the economy's really bad, so we would probably still be here.
Still be working.
But not as worried, maybe.
But also we love our jobs.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know if I would, like we were just saying, I don't know if I could just not do anything.
We'd have to find something
you keep
to do.
busy.
Yeah.
Maybe make a lot
we
of
like each other too much.
There you go.
We like
and
each
Courtney,
other too
you
much.
would be a great philanthropist.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
And she cares deeply for people.
My God, thank you.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the authority radar. So does Stephanie, I guess. No, we've got some rain on the radar near Floresville. You can see right here near Poth, Falls City. There's not even any lightning with this, folks. These are just regular splash and dash showers that are quickly marching to the north, and you can see that they're kind of falling apart before they get to San Antonio. That being said, this afternoon, 1 or 2 pop-up downpours is possible as you're heading out and about for the afternoon commute. That could cause some tricky spots in some locations out there. You know how it is around San Antonio whenever there's even a little bit of rain. 97 for the high temperature with an isolated storm possible. Then by sunset, it'll be 89, and by midnight, close to 80 degrees. So it is going to be a warm night, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. A very similar forecast tomorrow. Take a look at satellite and radar across the state of Texas. You can clearly see that there is a shield of clouds here in North Texas with some rain behind it. That's where that front is. It ended up stalling out, and we've got temperatures. High temperature is going to be close to 90, but still like in the 80s in Dallas, so pretty nice. Only 68 in Amarillo behind that front. We're going to be hot the next couple of days, not seeing any of that cooler air. We'll be at 96 tomorrow and then close to 100 degrees both Thursday and Friday. The reason for that, a high pressure system is going to move overhead, but before it can stay hot for too long, notice what happens to temperatures over the Labor Day weekend. We see highs only in the low 90s. And the reason for that is because we've got a chance for rain, a decent chance for rain. We're going to call it about a 30 to 40% chance every day for rainfall Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's going to be spotty. For the most part, this is not going to be a situation where you want to cancel your plans because of rain. We'll be looking at highs dipping down into the 90s, and some folks will be hitting the Guadalupe River to float, particularly around the New Braunfels area. But upstream of Canyon Lake, the stream flow has really come down since those July 4th floods. You can see that it's just at Comfort that we're looking at a higher stream flow of 180 cubic feet per second, a little bit above average. And then downstream of Canyon Lake in New Braunfels, where a lot of people are going to be tubing and not having to worry about water quality, you can see that the stream flow is about half of what it usually is this time of year. Let's talk about the water quality of the Guadalupe. Of course, we know that there's a lot of questions there still about the water quality. A lot of officials are pretty much saying approach the river at your own risk because there's debris and things like that still in the river. So you can scan that QR code. That will take you to an article all about the Guadalupe water quality post those July 4th floods. So know that over the weekend, it is not going to be a washout, 30 to 40% chance. You can plan for a backup indoor option just in case. So if you're going out to the pool or one of the lakes, just know that if you do hear some thunder, see some lightning, you should quickly go inside until that storm passes. What we'll be watching for as your weather authority is we'll be watching for the possibility for street flooding and some travel troubles, maybe about 1 to 2 inches in some places. So we will keep you posted. Otherwise, again, a pretty active forecast for what is typically one of our hottest times of the year. We'll be close to 100 on Thursday and Friday, but then relief over the weekend. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Well, Hispanic Heritage Month starts on September 15th, and mark your calendars. There will be more than 35 events for you to celebrate.
Just a few, right? Most of the celebrations will be from September 12th through the 20th. You can dance at the Mariachi Festival and celebrate with parades. There are also opportunities to learn history with lectures and watch films.
with our colors, with our traditions, with our gastronomy, with our dances, with our folklore intensely and happily. It's a celebration.
Well, the full schedule for Hispanic Heritage Month is on sa.com/arts.